Okay, and there's also one more final thing that we need to do here. Is use polygon. Alright. That seemed a little confusing for a moment. Okay, so now we can move around freely. And we'll run into the walls. So there is some collision. But for some reason, and I think it's because of the missing brackets, the S key wasn't working. So let's try that. There we go. That was exactly the reason. And you'll notice that actually makes it a bit slower. So what you can do here now again is set this to, or even better, var player speed x equals 15. Okay, so there we go. Alright. So now we have some forward and backwards movement. Let's set skill 2 now, which is our strafing. Skill Y, which we will, or player speed Y, which we'll set in a moment. The keys times that. This one, set that, like that, and it is that simple to set up a forward and backwards movement. Now you're going to see that there is the player model glitching. To fix that, you can set player.genius equals me. Oh, whoops. Not player. Camera.genius. Genius. Okay. There we go. So that makes the entity that is using that we refer to will not be seen inside of the camera, but can be used to be visible to anything else. So what we're actually going to be doing there eventually is setting the dummy to pass, we'll set this player to set me to invisible, so it's no longer visible, and this would be our actual player that the audience or the players, people playing the game, that they would see. Right, so once again, this player is just for skeletal purposes, and he doesn't need to be visible. Okay, so now we're going to get some better bounding boxes set up for this player. Set me, you know what, when we can add all that up here. Set me to invisible, fat, and narrow. And what that does is sets some bounding box definitions, so that when we go here to set my.min x value to a vector of -20, -20, and -60, and we'll vex set my.max y to vector 20, 20, and 50. So you can see we have the negative values and the positive values. And just to keep things lined up, Okay, so now if we run the stage, line 34, there is, because I forgot to put this bracket. Okay, so now we've set up some bounding boxes. Right on. Okay, so let's add a little bit of animation to that movement. We are going to say ENT animate me the frame name, so stand. Actually, you know what? We're actually just going to make it set like that. What are the name of his frames? Let's just double check, and it'll show you where to find them. So you can see here the frame names: stand, crouch, walk, and run. So you might be wondering why we're going to be using the run animation, but I'll show you in just a moment. So my.skill 4 is the frame cycle, so setting my.skill 4 to a number between 1 and 100 is essentially saying that the frame, or the animation loop, because you can see here we have stand 0 all the way up to 4, 3, so 4, so each one of these would represent at 25%. So you could say that 1 to 100 is a full animation cycle. And this is anim cycle. So what kind of animation are we doing? We're cycling through it. And then if my.skill 1 or my.skill 2 is greater than, or rather doesn't, so exclamation doesn't equal 0. So as long as we are moving, my.skill 4 plus equals 10 times time step. Now that might be too fast, but we'll play with that value. Oops. Okay. And of course we can put beside this my.skill 4 equal percent equals 100, so it loops at 100. So as I supposed, that is definitely too fast. And besides, we're walking, so let's set that to walk. Set this to 5. Okay, that looks good. So now we can say that player speed can be clamped so that oh, hold on here. So if that doesn't equal 0, or that doesn't equal 0, that's what needs to be there, okay? And then we can also say, so that means that as long as the movement keys are being pushed to animate, otherwise if they're not being pushed, okay, then we can say that player.speed equals 0, player speed x and y rather equals 0, and therefore that would set this to 0. And the reason why we're doing that now is because if we bring this to its own line and fill in right here that player speed x plus equals 5